Sing Hosanna, sing Hosanna, sing Hosanna to the King.
Oh, it is so good to sing out. And this is our second Sunday of Lent. And last Sunday we talked about living that highest truth and holding that highest truth no matter what's going on. And it's no accident that faith is an important part of that, because faith gives us the ability to bring that in and hold that knowing even before it's visible to us. So we're walking in faith. That's our conversation today. And we are using this powerful pamphlet put out by Unity, Release and Renew 2022, a spiritual practice for Lent. If you haven't gotten a copy, they're right on the welcome table. Pick one up. It is fabulous this year. And today's entry was written by Reverend Bronte Colbert. And she says here, when we walk in faith, no matter where we start, we will be blessed with a deep, resilient, spiritual understanding. Our loving kindness will shine out and lead the way. What this points to is faith. We have all the faith we're ever going to get. No sense asking God, oh, God, give me more faith. Our divine inheritance is faith. It's one of our faculties. Now, what we do with our faculty of faith, our power of faith, we use it in so many ways. Do I place my faith in my fear, in my doubt? Do I place my faith in loving kindness? Yes, to both. I do. I do all of those. But when we turn our faith on that inward journey, when we start with the faith in an abiding presence, God, then we are in a place where we can walk in faith and realize stuff that we may not even be able to see yet. But it's all possible. Reverend Charles Roth, a Unity minister and a great writer, says, faith is a power accessible to everyone and free for the taking. It will enable anyone to overcome every challenge, every seeming handicap or obstacle that confronts, no matter how insurmountable it may seem. Tall order, but it works. We have many examples in our lives. And when I was preparing this talk, I remembered how challenging it was working in the theater in New York City in the 80s. I was in New York when AIDS first appeared in our human journey. And when it first appeared, it seemed like a tiger that couldn't be tamed. There were thousands and thousands of people who died, and I knew many of them, or they were my colleagues in the theater. Dancers and choreographers and composers and directors and actors and actresses and lighting designers and playwrights. It was death, 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 memorial service after memorial service. I lived with grief all the time. But what I had was faith. Which, when you're facing the darkest time, faith gives the light, knowing that no matter what, things will work out. Now, AIDS is still very present in the human journey. I have dear friends in California. One of them has been living with AIDS for over 40 years. They adopted a baby who's now in college. And they can't even find the virus in his body. And yet he's diagnosed with AIDS. There is no situation that's bigger than God. And things don't heal. We've been in this global pandemic. And we've had to ride the wave of what's COVID today. In the long run, it'll either go the way of all things and be behind us, or it'll be just part of what the human journey lives with. Just, oh, COVID. We must turn to faith. We must live the truth. This is part of that holding the highest truth. All the other stuff that's going on is still going on. But in our walking in faith, we have the ability to rise above even the darkest time. Going back to Reverend Bronte, she says, the disciple Peter represents faith. Not because his faith was constant, but because he walked the journey of doubt, fear, uncertainty into the knowing of oneness. I love this. I love that the wisdom in unity is to look at these people and situations in the Bible and see how it relates to me, to us. I have doubt. I have fear. I have insecurity. I'm just like Peter. And I also have faith. And that faith is that opportunity, no matter what's going on, to hold that connection with the divine. To turn once again to our inward journey. And therein, I can have doubt, fear, and lack, and uncertainty, and also live in faith. It's the only way I was able to survive living in New York with the war of AIDS. It's the only way I could survive. And sometimes today, my heart in compassion feels like it's overflowing with what's happening in the world. And yet, I can live, move, and have my being knowing that God is present in every situation I'm aware of, in every situation I'm not aware of. It's no small order. So are we going to get to a place where we just have faith all the time and we'll never have any fear or any doubt or any uncertainty ever again? Maybe. But I don't see that in the people I meet. But the people I've come to respect as my mentors have shined knowing the truth and still feel what it feels like to be human. So we can have both and. She goes on to say, when life feels difficult, when the world appears to be in disarray or our way is unclear, we might even think we're losing our faith. But faith is not fleeting or fickle. It resides within us no matter what. We are on an amazing journey. We're so blessed to be alive right now. Because as our consciousness awakens to these bigger ideas, universal truth is always true. And when we bring those truths into how we live and breathe, then even when we're having a bad day, we know it'll change. We're having a really good day, we know it's going to change. But our faith only changes where we direct it. You know I love Martha Smock, a wonderful woman, written some really fabulous books. She was the head of Daily Word for like 30 years, more than anyone. It is through putting ourselves on the side of God that we develop faith, that we're able to meet life effectively, that we find ourselves filled with zest and enthusiasm for life, that we feel an infilling of power and energy from Spirit. Who'd like to have a little more energy, a little more power to face the day? Well, the way to do this is to develop a deep relationship with God. If you've already done this, you already know how valuable it is. Our master teacher used to refer to God as Abba. And that translates basically to daddy. It's the familiar form. It's not, oh, Holy Father. It's daddy. It's a personal relationship that is integral and important in his life. Can you say the same about your relationship with your higher power? Do you have conversations and an abiding deep friendship? You probably won't do it, but you might try going up to your friends and say, I want to introduce you to my deep friend, known as Abba, buddy, pal. Bring God into your relationship. You may have a partner, you have friends, you have family. Let God be as important as your spouse, your best friend, your grandchildren. When God has a relationship with you, you have a relationship with God. It's not meant to be some outside thing. It's right with you all the time. We never walk alone. And it does not matter what you call it. God, Daddy, Mama, abiding light, good old friend. Just stick with a name and use it. Let it be a term of endearment. Bestest buddy. Then allow that relationship to fill you with that power and energy to live your day as human and spiritual. And that's walking in faith. Martha Smock continues to say, to have faith is to welcome the new. Dare to get out of set ways, out of ruts of living and thinking. Faith is the pioneering quality of the mind. I don't know about you, but sometimes I recognize I'm stuck like a record. The same thing over and over and over again. And it's become familiar even though it hurts. Anyone else do that? The only way beyond that, besides taking the needle off the record, and some of you will know what that means, is to breathe and center in. Connect with your dear friend. Thank you, God. With you, I can face and find a way around this rut. When I'm on these Texas roads and I see a pothole, I go around it. Or line my wheels up so it goes over it. With God, we have that guidance system to know new ways to find our way through a challenging time, like a decade of AIDS, a couple years of a global pandemic. We have this GPS, this God positioning system that will aid us, give us ability so that no matter what's happening, we can be peaceful, calm, collected. Because we have a really good friend working with us. And that's walking in faith. Thank you.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.